Hello, fourth grade readers and writers. Welcome back to ELA School, Away from School. And just a reminder, I'm your virtual teacher, Mrs. Ewing. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. We are actually in week 9. Can you believe it? We've done such great work over the past 9 weeks, and we're on daily lesson 39. So let's just remind ourselves of our guiding questions. What can we learn from the process of ratifying the 19th Amendment? How can stories inspire us to take action to contribute to a better world? And how and why can we encourage and support others to contribute to a better world? I want to pause here and let you think about those guiding questions and think about how the texts we've been reading over the 9 weeks have really connected to these guiding questions. All right, great. You're probably thinking about how the texts have really progressed over the past 9 weeks, much like the guiding questions, right? So like in the beginning, we read a lot about ratifying the 19th Amendment, the women that played such a role in helping end inequality, especially when it came to voting. Then we thought about others, really inspiring activists who were inspired by ratifying the 19th Amendment and really wanted to end inequality in other areas within the United States. And then we've been reading about students and teens, and today we're going to read another article about a teen who is actually making an effort to make this world a better place, and we're inspired by that. So we've been reading over this past several weeks stories that have really connected to this idea of how stories can inspire us to take action to really contribute to a better world. So I want you to think about these guiding questions as we move through over these next 2 weeks. All right, so the materials you're going to need. You're going to need California Teen Leads Legal Efforts to Allow Immigrants to Remain in the United States. You're going to need Lesson 39 and your Lesson 39 note catcher. All right, pause this video. I'll wait right here for you and grab your materials. All right, welcome back. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our learning target. I can determine the main idea of a text and find supporting details. So today as we read, I want you to really think about the text through this lens. What is the big idea that the author wants us to take away? And what details in the text help support that big idea? All right, so I'm going to read this aloud, but feel free to read it again with a family member, a caregiver, or a friend. All right, so grab your text. California Teen Leads Legal Efforts to Allow Immigrants to Remain in the United States. And go ahead and read along with me. All right, so we have our title, California Teen Leads Legal Efforts to Allow Immigrants to Remain in the U.S. Then we have a picture with a caption, California teen Krista Ramos is suing the federal government to preserve temporary protected status for almost 300,000 immigrants from El Salvador, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Sudan. All right, let's start reading. Krista Ramos is a 14-year-old high school freshman. Until recently, she was mostly concerned with school, friends, and soccer practice with her team. All that changed last January. President Donald Trump's administration announced plans to end humanitarian protections for many immigrants. Those protections are called temporary protected status. Congress created the TPS program in 1990. Its purpose is to provide relief to immigrants in the United States who did not return safely to home countries struck by natural disasters or armed conflict. TPS aids teens' mother, others from El Salvador. TPS allows Krista's mother and about 260,000 other immigrants from Central America, country of El Salvador, to lawfully live and work in the United States, or U.S. Krista is a U.S. citizen and lives near San Francisco, California. Since last January, she has become an outspoken supporter for preserving TPS. Now she's the lead plaintiff in an important class action lawsuit. In a lawsuit, the plaintiff is the person bringing the case and defendant is the person being accused. In a class action lawsuit such as Krista's, many people with the same problem come together to sue the same defendant. The legal challenge for more than 300,000 people from El Salvador, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Sudan is the first by U.S. citizen children and TPS holding parents. One of the parents is Krista's mother, Christina Morales, who has lived in the U.S. since she was 12. some immigrants could face deportation. Excuse me. Ooh. Okay. If the Trump administration ends DPS protections, Krista would face a difficult choice. She could either grow up in the United States without her mom, who would likely face deportation, or move with her to El Salvador. The country is struggling with poverty and has one of the highest murder rates in the world. There are not many good career opportunities in El Salvador, Krista said. Krista said she dreams of going to college, playing soccer for the U.S. women's national team, and most immediately, keeping her family together. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, is the U.S. government department that handles public security and immigration. The DHS secretary can choose whether a country's residents can use the TPS program. After a number of years, DHS may extend or cancel TPS for each country. Immigrants from El Salvador and Nicaragua have been allowed to use TPS for more than 15 years. Temporary court victory and fight for TPS holders. In October, Krista learned about a major step toward her goal. U.S. District Judge Edward Chin in San Francisco temporarily blocked the government from ending TPS until he rules on the merits of Ramos versus Nielsen. That is the name of Krista's court case, which names U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Kirstjen Nielsen as the defendant. The Trump administration has since requested to overturn Chin's temporary block. The court has yet to decide whether it will stay in place, though. Krista says she used to be scared of public speaking, but not anymore. I think about how there's other kids who are maybe too scared to speak up, she said, referring to the estimated 273,000 U.S. citizen children who have at least one parent with TPS. So I choose to help them and be the voice of all the kids who are going through the same thing, she said. Team seeks to keep families together. My goal is to keep my family and the other families together, she said, so that me and my brother and the other kids in these families can go on with our life and education and plans. Emmylou McLean is a lead lawyer in the lawsuit. She works for the National Day Laborer Organization Network in Los Angeles, a group that helps improve the daily lives of workers and immigrants. She conducted several interviews earlier this year with potential plaintiffs. Many of them were already involved in activism that fought for more permanent protections for TPS holders. McLean said that that's how she met Morales and Krista. McLean said during their first meeting, Krista asked a lot of questions about the lawsuit and quickly recognized that it had life-changing consequences for other children and families like hers. McLean asked Krista to be the lead plaintiff during a days-long meeting in San Francisco between lawyers and the 14 people who agreed to be plaintiffs. Krista's family says coming out so publicly against the Trump administration has been stressful and feels like a risk, given the president's commitment to strict immigration rules. Because of the initial step, though, Krista has also had some unexpected opportunity. Pope Francis' message, keep fighting. In October, a nervous Krista stepped onto an airplane for the first time, traveling to Rome, Italy, to ask Pope Francis for his support and deliver a letter. The Pope is the highest leader of the Catholic Church, which is headquartered at Vatican City in Rome. The letter asked the Pope to travel to the U.S. and urge Congress to grant permanent protections for TPS holders. Krista did not expect to see the Pope up close, let alone shake his hand. But that's exactly what happened, though, as she stood with about 10 U.S. citizen children of TPS holders by St. Peter's Basilica, one of the world's holiest sites for Catholics. Keep fighting, Pope Francis told the children in Spanish. Migrating is a human right, he said. Nobody can stop it. All right, so now that we've read our text, I want you to go ahead and do some thinking. What is this article about? What new title would you give this article, making sure to capture the main idea? And then what details support your thinking? All right, pause this video and do that thinking now. Great. All right, so we've read, we've thought, let's do some discussing. Before we discuss, I want to remind you that the main idea is the big idea that the author wants you to understand and take away from reading a text. The supporting details, information from the text that supports, explains, defines, or proves that main idea. All right, so let's talk about this first question. What is the article mostly about? All right, pause this video, talk about it now. All right, so now that we've thought about what this article is mostly about, we can start to think of what would another name, or how would you rename this article, making sure to capture that main idea. So what would you rename this article? Pause this video, talk about it now. Great. All right, so did your title capture that main idea? All right, so now I want you to talk about what supporting details support your thinking. Pause this video, talk about it now. Great. All right, so now I want you to talk about what quotes from the text supports your thinking about the main idea. All right, pause the video, talk about it now. All right, great. I want you to think about what you said this was mostly about, and then also the title that you wanted to rename this article, and hopefully somewhere it captures that this team is going out and fighting for the rights of immigrants within the United States, right? So somewhere you want to talk about how she's fighting, she's working, she's trying to inspire others to make the world a better place, specifically for these immigrants in the United States. All right. So let's do some writing. So using this lesson 39 note catcher, I want you to record your main idea and then find 3 supporting details from the text and record those on this note catcher. All right, so if I look at this note catcher, I want you to notice in that first box, go ahead and capture the name that you said you would rename this article. So what title would you give this article? Put that in the first box. And then in that bottom box, go ahead and list those supporting details that support the name you gave this article. Because remember, that name that you're renaming the article really wants to capture the main idea. All right, pause this video, do that writing activity now. All right, great work today. All right, so I want you to think about the work we did. Our learning target was, I can determine the main idea of a text and find supporting details. How did you do with that today? All right, you should be feeling pretty good about it, right? All right, so now I want you to share your writing with someone and tell them why you chose to write what you did. Then after you complete this assignment, go ahead and read a book with a family member, a caregiver, or a friend for at least 20 minutes. And then using a timer, it can be a cell phone timer, kitchen timer, you can have someone count to 60. I want you to read this passage for 1 minute, count the words you read, and write the number at the top of your text. Super proud of all the work you've done over the past 9 weeks, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.